All right, let's talk, Cowboys fan. You've seen the rumors, heard the talk, and probably asked yourself the same question. Who is going to step up as the number 2 wide receiver next to CeeDee Lamb? Because let's be real, Lamb is elite, but he can't do it alone. And if Dallas wants to have a truly dangerous passing attack, they need an explosive WR2 to keep defenses honest. Cowboys COO and co-owner Stephen Jones knows it too. He recently made it clear that the team is still looking for that really explosive second option at wide receiver. But the big question is, where will they find him? Free agency, a trade, or even the draft? Right now, the Cowboys' wide receiver room has some solid pieces. They brought in Paris Campbell this offseason, a guy with serious speed, but let's be honest, he hasn't exactly lit up the stat sheet in recent years. The loss of Brandon Cooks, who signed with the Saints, only makes the need for another playmaker even greater. So here we are, with the Cowboys actively searching for that missing piece. And you know how it is. When Stephen Jones starts talking about making moves, fans start speculating. Could they target a veteran in free agency? Maybe make a splashy trade? Or is the plan to find a young, dynamic receiver in the draft? Now, let me turn it over to you. If you were in charge, who would you pair with CeeDee Lamb? Would you go after a proven veteran, or would you roll the dice on a younger guy with upside? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what you think. And stick around, because up next we're breaking down exactly what the Cowboys have done so far this offseason to address the WR2 spot. Let's dive into the moves they've made, and the ones they haven't. So what have the Cowboys actually done to fix this wide receiver situation? Well, not much. At least not yet. Let's start with the biggest loss, Brandon Cooks. When he was healthy, he was the guy expected to take some pressure off CeeDee Lamb, stretching the field with his speed. But now, he's gone, signing with the New Orleans Saints and leaving a big hole in this offense. Now, the Cowboys did make one move. They signed Paris Campbell. On paper, he's got what you want: speed, athleticism, and the ability to take the top off a defense. But here's the problem. He only has 134 receiving yards over the last 2 seasons. That's not exactly WR2 production. So the big question is, did Dallas sign him to be a legitimate option behind Lamb, or is he just a depth piece? Beyond Campbell, the Cowboys still have a group of young receivers with potential. Jonathan Mingo is an interesting name. Dallas traded for him last season, and the front office seems to believe in his upside. Then there's Ryan Flournoy, Jalen Tolbert, and Jalen Brooks, guys who have flashed at times but haven't proven they can be that reliable number 2 option. And of course, there's Kevontae Turpin, a game breaker in the return game, but can he consistently contribute as a receiver? Stephen Jones says he likes this group. But let's be honest, liking a group and believing it's good enough to compete with the best teams in the league are 2 very different things. So here's what I want to know from you. Are you comfortable with this receiver room as it is, or do the Cowboys have to go out and get another playmaker? Vote in the poll and let me know in the comments. And coming up next, we'll break down exactly what options Dallas has. Free agency, a trade, or the draft? Let's see which path makes the most sense for America's team. All right, so we've established that the Cowboys need another playmaker. Now the real question is, where do they find him? Because at this point, they've got 3 options: free agency, a trade, or the draft. Each comes with its risks and rewards, so let's break it all down. First up, free agency. Now, if you're hoping for a big name, you might be out of luck. The biggest available receivers, guys like Amari Cooper and Keenan Allen, don't really fit the explosive mold that Stephen Jones is talking about. But what about someone like Elijah Moore or DJ Chark? They have the speed to stretch the field. But do the Cowboys trust them enough to give them a key role? Then there's the trade route. Dallas has made moves for receivers before. Just last year, they traded for Brandon Cooks. Another example? They grabbed Jonathan Mingo for a 4th-round pick, and they still believe in his upside. So could they make another deal? Maybe go after someone like Cortland Sutton or Gabe Davis. The problem with trades is the cost. Are the Cowboys willing to give up draft capital for a guy who might not even be a long-term solution? And finally, there's the draft. This might be the most intriguing option because this year's draft class is loaded with receiver talent. Dallas could land a young, explosive playmaker without spending big money. But the downside? Relying on a rookie to immediately contribute isn't always a sure thing. Look at Jalen Tolbert. He was a third-round pick, and it's taken him time to adjust. Would the Cowboys be comfortable rolling the dice on a first-year player to fill such an important role? So, what's the best move here? Should Dallas go after a proven veteran, swing a trade, or take their chances with a rookie? Let's settle this. Drop your choice in the comments and tell me why you think it's the right move. And coming up next, we'll break down how a truly explosive WR2 could transform this Cowboys offense. Because if Dallas gets this right, they might just take their passing attack to another level. Stay tuned. Now, let's talk about what adding that explosive WR2 could do for the Cowboys. We're not just talking about another body in the room here. We're talking about an element that could elevate the entire offense, specifically Brian Schottenheimer's offensive scheme. Think about it. If the Cowboys can pair a legit speedster with CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott will have the chance to spread the field in a way he hasn't had in recent years. CeeDee will draw attention as the WR1, which means defenses will have to decide. Double Lamb and leave the new guy one-on-one, or cover him and risk letting Lamb go off. That's a luxury any quarterback would love to have. Now compare this to some of the other dynamic duos in the NFL. Think of teams like the Kansas City Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes and his stable of receivers, or the Miami Dolphins with Tua Tagovailoa and his pair of speed demons in Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. These teams have multiple threats, and it's incredibly difficult for defenses to cover them all. That's what the Cowboys are missing. A second weapon who can make defenses pay if they focus too much on Lamb. And remember, the quicker the Cowboys get a playmaker who can take the top off defenses, the easier it will be for Dak Prescott. Right now, the QB has to work extra hard to make up for the lack of consistent explosiveness outside of Lamb. But imagine if Dak had a reliable WR2 who could stretch the field and win those one-on-one matchups. It could open up the entire playbook and make the offense far more difficult to stop. But here's the big question. Do you think the Cowboys will actually find that explosive WR2, or will they have to rely on what they have? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Who would you love to see in that role? And stay tuned, because next we're wrapping this up and taking a final look at what the Cowboys' next move should be. So, after everything we've talked about, what should the Cowboys do? It's clear that adding an explosive WR2 is critical to improving this offense, but now we need to make a decision on the best path forward. We've explored three options: free agency, trade, and the draft, and each comes with its own set of pros and cons. Free agency offers some intriguing possibilities, but it's clear that the truly explosive players are few and far between. Trades could give the Cowboys a more immediate solution, but they come with the risk of giving up valuable draft capital. Then, of course, there's the draft, which is a bit of a gamble, but could also provide a long-term solution without breaking the bank. Ultimately, the decision comes down to balancing the immediate need for a WR2 with the long-term strategy of building this team. If the Cowboys can get a veteran who fits their system and adds that explosiveness, they should do it. But if they can secure a young talent in the draft who can grow alongside Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb, that might be the smarter play. But whatever route they take, one thing is for sure: the Cowboys need to add that second option at wide receiver. The future of this offense depends on it. All right, now it's time for you to weigh in. What do you think? Should the Cowboys go big in free agency, trade for a proven playmaker, or take a chance on a rookie in the draft? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let us know who you'd love to see joining Lamb in the Cowboys receiving corps. Catch you in the next one.